الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. قال نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن العليم والفرقان المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله رسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we welcome you all to this Ramadan series organized by USTJ. In this series, we have been seeing about the science of Hadith. In the previous session, what we saw was the yardstick to define, to categorize or rather criticize the narrators of Hadith. So in order to do that, there were prominent scholars like Yahya bin Mu'in, Shu'ba, Ali ibn Madni and Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. These are the famous prominent scholars in the field of devising the rule to categorize a Hadith based on the narrators. So in that, we also saw the first generation of Hadith collectors who are confined to the local region only. To name a few like Ibn Jurayj, Sufyan Sauri, Auzaji, Huzaim, Abdullah bin Mubarak, Ma'mar, Jarir. All these people are known as the first generation scholar of Hadith who were collecting the Hadith confined to the region where they were living in. So they did not have the Hadith of other people. How did this translate into the the Bukhari and Muslim what we have today? And that is done through the second generation of scholars. There were several second generation of scholars who were categorizing the Hadith collected from the scholars of certain regions. For example, the scholars of the second generation of Hadith will go to the scholars who is known as prominent in collecting the Hadith of that region. Let's say if this person wants to collect the Hadith from Makkah, he will probably go to Imam Ibn Jurayj and collect the Hadith. And whatever Imam Ibn Jurayj gives, those Hadiths are all collected and these are all the Hadith which was collected from Makkah. Similarly, the second generation scholars need not go to door and collect all these Hadiths. Instead, the point of reference will be the scholar of that particular region. Otherwise, the point of contact for them to collect the Hadith will be the students of the scholars who collected the Hadith. So they have the process is simplified for them that they go to let's say they travel to Makkah, they will be able to collect all the Hadith from a single person or one or two persons for that matter if the scholar has multiple students. So what did they do with the collection of the Hadith? They collected the Hadith from several regions. The second generation scholars went a step ahead and they started categorizing the Hadith based on the Sahabis. Let's say these scholars, the second generation scholars, will categorize the Hadith based on the ones which are narrated by Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu. Likewise, they will also have the Hadith narrated by Umar radhiyallahu anhu, Ibn Abbas radhiyallahu anhu, Abdullah bin Umar radhiyallahu anhu, or Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. All these classification, the type of classification done by the second generation of scholars is called as Musannad. So we will be going through the hadith names like Musnad Ahmad and things like that. These are all nothing but the collection, the work of the second generation scholars. The second generation scholars went a step ahead and categorized it based on the Sahabis who narrated the hadith. The famous ones being the famous second generation scholars are like Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, who collected the hadith and named it as Musnad Ahmad. So Musnad means these are the hadith which will be categorized based on the Sahabis who is narrating the hadith. So the hadith of Abu Bakr Siddiq will be collected in order. It does not mean that we will be able to get the hadith what Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu narrated with respect to Salah. So if you have to search the hadith, it becomes a tedious job to go through the hadith of narrated by Abu Bakr Siddiq. So likewise, there are other prominent second generation scholars. To name a few, Abdullah ibn Musa, Musaddad, Asad bin Musa, Mughayb bin Hammad, Ishaq bin Raghavayri, Usman bin Abi Shayba. These are the second generation scholars whose books are called as Musnad because they categorized it based on the Sahabis who is narrating the hadith. There are also certain things we should understand about the second generation scholars. One thing being, like we saw in the initial, the first generation scholars, they did not categorize the hadith based on Sahih and Daif. They just collected all the news which is told in the name of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Similarly, the second generation scholars also did not categorize the hadith based on Sahih and Daif. Number one. However, they like the way how they went one step ahead to categorize the hadith based on the Sahabis, based on the narrations of the Sahabis, they also took a step of they also took the step of removing the opinion of Sahabis and Tabi'ins from the hadith. The first generation scholars had hadith in place. Apart from that, they also had the individual opinion of the Sahabis, the companions. Apart from that, they also had the individual opinion of the Tabi'ins. The second generation scholars went one step ahead by removing whatever is not attributed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They removed them. So all those are removed from the collection, the musnads, whatever the second generation scholars collected. So they had only those news which is attributed towards Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which ends with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only those news are the one which is collected by these scholars of second generation. However, they did not categorize the hadith based on Sahih and Daif. I also mentioned about Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, who also devised the rule of categorizing the hadith based on the narrators. Though Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal used to give class for people, advocating this rule that this is a Sahih hadith and this is a Daif hadith, he did not apply that same rule in his own book. In the book what is written by Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Musnad Ahmad, he also had weak hadith apart from Sahih hadith. However, when he explains those to the people, when he explains those news to the people, he will categorize the hadith based on the narrators. Now coming back to the important discussion, we also saw that how come Imam Bukhari and Muslim were prominent among the researchers of hadith. That is simply because Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal advocated the rule of classifying Sahih and Daif, but did not follow that in his own book. Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim were students of Ahmad bin Hanbal. There are other critics like Yahya bin Mu'in, Ali ibn Madni. All these people used to give dars, used to give class to other people. They used to train their students in the field of categorizing the hadith based on criticizing the narrators. So like that, Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim were students of Ahmad bin Hanbal and other scholars. They went a step ahead and they documented these hadiths, and these hadiths will have the classification of Sahih and Dhaif. To sum up, the first generation scholars collected all the hadiths. Apart from hadith, they had the opinions of Sahabas and the opinions of Tabi'ins. The second generation of scholars like Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal collected the hadith and categorized the hadith based on the Sahabis narrating the hadith. Like the hadith narrated by Abu Bakr Siddiq, like the hadith narrated by Umar radhiyallahu anhu. So this is the second step what they did. Apart from this, they also removed the the opinions of Sahabas and the Tabi'ins from the collection of hadith. They did not categorize Sahih and Dhaif. The third generation scholar went one step ahead of them by doing all the things whatever is done by the first and second generation scholars. Additionally, they categorize the hadith based on Sahih and Dhaif. They categorize the hadith into Sahih and Dhaif based on the criticism done on the narrators of the hadith. And the third generation scholars, the prominent scholars of third generation include Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, Imam Abu Dawud, Imam Nasai, Imam Tirmidhi, Imam Ibn Majah and Imam Bazzar. The six scholars like Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, Nasai, Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah are very well known as the six scholars. So usually we get the collection of books in software as the six books. Apart from that, Imam Bazzar is also famous for collecting Sahih and Dhaif hadith. Like I initially told you, that there were two works done by the people which makes them stand out from rest of the people. Number one, they categorized the collected hadith under titles. They gave the chapter names for the hadith collected. The second generation scholars they also categorized based on title, but they categorized based on the title in the name of Sahabi. The third generation scholars categorized the hadiths collected into different titles like Salah, like Hajj, whatever it is. They collected based on the ablution, the night prayers and things like that. They categorize the books of the titles are given to all these hadiths based on the content of the hadith. So this is an additional work done by the third generation scholars. Additionally, they also reduce the number of narrators to the maximum extent as possible. For example, like I told you, Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim were the students of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Though they learned the hadith from Ahmad bin Hanbal, if they had a provision to learn the same hadith directly from the person who narrated it, they went ahead and collected the hadith from those narrators. For example, if Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal says, this person I got this hadith from this person, you will know nowhere you will find in Bukhari and Muslim that in the narrator chain nowhere you will find the name of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. That reason being, Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim went ahead to the person who told to Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. The idea behind this motivation is to reduce the number of narrators, and that is one other reason why we will be seeing that the contents of the hadith will be listed out in all these hadith, and the narrator chains will be as small as possible, which will be like 6 or 7 narrators. Like I told you, if you consider Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, they were like 6th generation with respect to Prophet Mohammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first generations are Sahabis, companions. The successors, Tabi'ins. The successors of Tabi'ins are Tabaut Tabi'ins. The first generation scholars like Imam Ibn Jurayj, Imam Auzaji. The second generation scholars like Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Imam Bukhari, all fall into the 6th generation when you consider the generation of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Though they are in the 6th generation, still you will find the narrators are limited to 7, 8 or 9. They will not have so many narrators in place. The reason being, they went ahead and they took that into action by reducing the number of narrators while collecting the hadith. There is also one other thing we should understand about Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, apart from collecting the hadith and categorizing them under the different chapters, they were also researchers in understanding the content of the hadith. Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim were also interested in understanding the content of the hadith. The first generation, second generation scholars were interested in only the narrator chain. The third generation scholars like Imam Bukhari and Muslim went ahead with the approach of first and second generation. Additionally, they also went 1 mile ahead and analyzed the content of the hadith. And while analyzing the content of the hadith, if you can see in Imam Bukhari's collection, there will be close to 7,000 hadith, but there will only be 2,000 unique hadith. The reason for this duplication is simply because Imam Bukhari wanted to collect all the hadith, categorize them into different titles. Additionally, upon doing that, if Imam Bukhari feels that one hadith is also applicable, is also falling under the chapter under different chapters, Imam Bukhari will also document the hadith under different chapters. And that is the reason why the 2,000 unique hadiths of Imam Bukhari is duplicated into almost 7,000 hadith, which we have as a complete collection of Imam Bukhari, Sahih Bukhari. Other than that, there were also scholars like Imam Abu Dawud, Nasai, Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah. These scholars, Abu Dawud, Nasai, Tirmidhi and Imam Ibn Majah, they categorized the hadith based on Sahih and Dhaif, but they did not they did not analyze the contents of the hadith and categorize them or repeatedly document them in different titles, number one. Secondly, there is also one other difference between the research work of Imam Bukhari versus other Imams. Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim also for that matter documents, they claim that they have documented only Sahih hadith. They did not document the Dhaif hadith. However, if you see the books of Imam Abu Dawud, Nasai and Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah, these scholars of hadith have documented the Sahih hadith and also they have documented the Dhaif hadith. Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, to the extent possible, to the limit possible, they have tried hard not to document any weak hadith in the book, and that is why the two books are called as Sahihaini, the two authentic books. However, Imam Tirmidhi will also document the Dhaif hadith but explicitly mentions them as this is Dhaif. But Imam Abu Dawud, Imam Nasai and Imam Ibn Majah did not guarantee that all documented hadith in their books are Sahih. So these are the third generation scholars whose books we quite often refer to. In the last session, I also told you that what is the reason why Imam Bukhari and Muslim are prominent in the field of hadith when compared to other scholars. There are several reasons. To sum up, the first reason being the ease of categorization. The way how the second generation scholars categorized the hadith was purely based on the Sahabis narrating the hadith. The third generation scholars, the second generation scholars collecting the hadith based on the narrations of Sahabis, which is called as Musnad. The third generation scholars like Imam Bukhari and Muslim, the reason why they are standing apart is because of the ease of categorization. For example, if you want to understand, if you want to read a hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari with respect to Salah, it is very much easier for us to go to the chapter of Salah and read the hadith. And likewise for whatever issues we face, whatever questions we come across, it is easy for us to refer Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim because all these hadiths are categorized based on the title. He has given title like Salah, like Udu, like Hajj and things like that. Second reason being, they have removed the opinions of Sahabis and Tabi'ins. They do not bring in the opinion of Sahabis and Tabi'ins into the book of Hadith. Thirdly, Imam Bukhari and Muslim claim that they have classified only Sahih, they have only documented the Sahih Hadith. And Imam Bukhari named the collection of the book, whatever he collected, as Jamiul Sahih, the collection of only Sahih Hadith. And the 6 books, what I told you in the third generation, are widely known as Jamiul Sitta, the 6 books, 6 collections of books. None of the scholars apart from Imam Bukhari and Muslim took that as a challenge and proclaimed that they have documented only Sahih Hadith. This is the third reason. The fourth reason is that apart from the the narrator chain and classifying the hadith and categorizing them based on the narrators and also bringing them under different chapters, Imam Bukhari was the first person who used to derive fiqh from the hadith. The fiqh, the derivation, the rules and the laws and the rules derived from the hadith is used by Imam Bukhari to replicate the same hadith under different chapters. So this is the fourth reason why Imam Bukhari stands out. For example, there is a hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari which talks about delaying the Isha Salah. So in that hadith, Prophet Muhammad will delay the Salah of Isha to the extent that the kids who came to masjid, they fell asleep. The women also came to masjid. For other scholars for that matter, they will document this hadith in one region only, one particular topic only. However, Imam Bukhari, since he also ponders over the meaning of the hadith, Imam Bukhari will document this hadith under the Salah, number 1. Under the topic of delaying Salah, number 2, delaying the Isha Salah. Thirdly, the provision to bring kids to masjid. The provision, the permission to bring in women to masjid. So likewise, and permission to sleep in masjid. So likewise, Imam Bukhari will document the same hadith, replicate the same hadith into different regions. The fifth, the final last reason why Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim stand out from rest of the crowd is because they have reduced the number of narrators considerably. Because of all these reasons, Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim stand out from rest of the people. Now coming back to the argument of people who advocate for school of thought, saying that when you are following Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, why not follow Imam Abu Hanifa? The reason is very simple, because Imam Bukhari went one step ahead and documented only whatever is Sahih. Imam Muslim also for that matter. However, Imam Abu Hanifa, the books of Imam Abu Hanifa is lost now. Nobody has the books written by Imam Abu Hanifa now. All the books we have is the books written by the students of Imam Abu Hanifa. And the yardstick of analyzing, examining the narrators is not available in the books of Madhab. Rather, it is available in the Jami'u Sitta, in the Sahihaini books. The authentic text of Prophet Muhammad which was documented by Imam Bukhari, taking the rule derived from Imam Yahya bin Mu'in, Ahmad bin Hanbal, Ali ibn Madni and Imam Shu'ba. He takes the prominent works of first generation scholars, takes the work of second generation scholar, adds few other rules to the scholars, and that is the reason why Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, the hadith book of these two scholars and other 6 scholars during the time of third generation, are still under are still taken into consideration, which are considered to be the most authentic text in the Islamic history. So I would like to basically end this talk by summing up what we saw. We saw the the distinguishing factors of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim versus other scholars. We also saw the scholars of the third generation of hadith and what is the way how they stood out of that one. From the second generation scholar, the third generation of scholars have been they separated themselves away from the second generation of scholars by categorizing the hadith based on the content of the hadith, and the name of these books are all called as Sunan. That is why we will be seeing the book names like Sunan Nasai, Sunan Ibn Majah, Sunan Tirmidhi. So all these scholars, Sunan Ibn Majah, Sunan Nasai, Sunan Tirmidhi, are all third generation scholars for which the name Sunan is given. So whenever we see the name Sunan, it refers to the collection of hadith based on the chapters. If you see the title Sunan, it means that the hadiths in these books are brought down under different sections, different chapters like Salah, Hajj, ablution, warfare and things like that. And this brings us to the end of this session. where we started understanding about the Hadith collection methodology and the extra precautions taking while documenting these Hadith, and the specific reason why the works of Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim is widely accepted and which remains prominent for any of us to take a Hadith reference from. Wa akhiran alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
من الشيطان نزغ فاستعذ بالله